was mentioning things like marketing, and they were like, what is all this? What are you thinking? Like, I think at the point they told me like, no, I've not gotten a real job yet.
Hi everyone, my name is Amos Oluwaferomi Babalola. Welcome to Lyfe. I think for me, at probably around my second or third year studying civil engineering, I already knew that wasn't what I was going to do. I think the only issue that I had then was I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew like this wasn't it in the long run. So that was the point I knew. I think one of the things that made me to know was I had been there for probably 2 years, 3 years now, and the concept wasn't really something like I would say was interesting to me, or was like I really understood exactly what I was doing. It was just really interesting. And then thinking about it, someone approached me and was like, when you become a civil engineer, this is now you'll be acting. And then I was like, okay, don't me that. It's like I'm not going to become a civil engineer. So yeah, it was around this moment, that period, I knew that okay, this wasn't what I was going to do in the long run. So I think for me it was a gradual process. When I got back, I told them that okay, I didn't make it seem like okay, I was totally off the route of civil engineering. I just told them that I'm also considering this interests of mine, which is marketing, growth marketing, digital marketing, and they were all perplexed and they were like, okay, yeah, why are you applying for like civil engineering jobs? You can also be applying for jobs in terms of marketing and things like that. I said no problem. And it turned out like marketing was like the way forward, and gradually they're just like, okay, you've actually left that civil engineering side. I think another interesting thing to note is that right from time, my parents have always had the belief that it's not exactly what you go and study in school that you practice. I think it's a common culture in Nigeria. Not every time you go to school, you study something that you come out and practice it. The only thing that was just surprising and made them perplexed was like I was mentioning things like marketing, and they were like, what is all this? What are you thinking? Like, I think at the point they told me like, no, I've not gotten a real job yet. So, but gradually they warmed up, they saw the prospects, and I think another interesting thing is that they also met people that were in the same line, that were doing executive level. They were like, okay, yeah, it seems this is actually a valid profession, and yeah, they began to support me. After I realized that okay, this wasn't what I was going to study in school, not long after I started reading more of like a self-discovery and growth process. Just like moments later, when I like really understood that okay, this is what I was going to do. I think I was probably towards my 4th year. My grades started to improve. So it helped me when I was working, because like in as much as I knew like okay, in the long run, this wasn't what I was going to do, I still put in my all at what I was doing then. One thing that helps me that was like okay, I remember my dad, even though it's like a popular saying, but it's always my dad words that comes around that whatever you find yourself doing, make sure you do it well. Working as a civil engineer had its ups and downs. I worked at various sites. I worked for a real estate construction company, and it had its moments. I really did well. A lot of people actually thought that this was where I was going to pursue. In fact, ad calls, ad gigs, like even maybe sometimes some people just come that they have a site that they need someone to help supervise and things like that. So I think I really like just put in my all. I would say I found a way to make it interesting in terms of like probably managing the project, or just finding ways to power through the, I don't say boring parts, because like it's not like everything is boring, but power through like probably the hard parts and everything. That was it for me. And I think another interesting thing then was that since like I had not figured out or discovered the exact field or the exact industry I was going to go into, why not just put in my best in where I found myself currently? So yeah, that was just it working for me in that line. Yeah, so I think the funny thing is that I don't think that time ever came where I was rethinking probably my decision or my steps. When I realized and I can understand that okay, this is the path for me, it was a lot more easier to power through the hard parts. So whenever the challenges came, whenever the obstacles came, whenever work was really tedious and like things could really be crazy, or whenever obstacles came, I knew like okay, this was just for a time. I just have to figure this out. I just have to figure out the way out of this. I had mentors that I would constantly reach out to. There were a lot of people I could constantly reach out to, tell them that okay, these were issues I'm going through, this is what I'm going through, and they could always guide me. So the question of like, did I choose the right path or the right industry, I don't think ever came up in my mind. Yeah, I think it's been interesting, it's been great, it's been amazing. It has its own fear of challenges, obstacles, problems, issues, back and forth, you know the drill. Thank God, like I've been able to, every time faced with an issue, every time faced with an obstacle, there's always been a solution, a way out. So yeah, I'll say the transition into growth marketing has been great. When you say my old life, do you mean as a civil engineer? Okay, I think it's still part of my life. It's just a time, but no, I don't think I would want to go back. And I think it was a learning curve for me. I would say God put me on that path just so I could probably meet the people I met, just so I could really understand where He was going to take me. So yeah, but no, I'm not going back to work as a civil engineer. Okay, so an aspiring growth marketer, I think my advice I would give to you is first learn to play to your strengths. I think that's one interesting thing that happens in growth marketing, because apart from the fact you are playing to your strengths as a person, whichever organization you are working for, you are focusing on the strengths of that organization, trying to optimize their strengths, trying to do marketing the right way and do things that works for them. Just first of all, learn to play to your strengths. I would say be true to yourself, but that's like a cliche advice everyone gets. And another thing is hard. You have to be willing to power through.